Hi team, in this video I am going to explain what is pseudo conversational program and what is the importance of pseudo conversational program or application and how to implement. These are all the things we are going to discuss in this particular video. First, let me explain what is pseudo conversational program. And so is there any difference for end user if I use pseudo conversational program or if I use conversational program? The answer here team, for end user there is no difference at all. There is no difference at all if the application is developed on conversational or non pseudo conversational. The application can be on any scenario. It can be any, it can be with either conversational or pseudo conversational. End user will not get any difference end user point of view. Then you might be getting another question: when there is no or no difference, or when there is no reflections not there, when there are no changes for the end users, if there are no differences end user, why we have to think about pseudo conversational program? Yeah, it is the right question. The answer here, so we have to think in the application side and optimization also. We have to see optimization at application program side also. So this is the main objective of the pseudo conversational program. Using pseudo conversational programs, we can able to optimize our Kix resources. How to optimize, how it is going to work, I'll explain in high level in detail in further minutes, right? So let me explain exactly the meaning of what is pseudo conversational in Kix programs. A programming technique where the task need not to wait until the end user replies on the terminal. So we will implement a program with the technique called pseudo conversation technique. So that technique or that that particular application will not wait until end user replies on the terminal. So this is the main point. For this particular purpose only, we are coming with the pseudo conversational technique. I'll explain in detail. Every time a task is terminated, the application requires a response from the user. So what happens here? So whenever we are giving a chance for user to enter, at that moment we are going to terminate the task whatever we allocated earlier. So because of that, whatever the resources we allocated for that particular task are going to release. So that is the meaning of it. Every time a task is terminated, so we have to write a application program such a way whenever we give a chance to user to give the input, that time only immediately we will be releasing the resources, the resources what we allocated for that particular task. Next transaction need to be started with the end user presses any key. At the same time, one more task ID also will be allocated and resources will be allocated whenever end user press the any key as per the application, as per the front end screen requirement. The keys might be enter, RPF, RPF, PF1 to PF24 function keys, PA1, PA3 or clear button. The entire process is performed from the beginning of the task till end of the task in the application. Now, to implement pseudo conversational program, we need to three components in technique 3. So there are total 3 techniques are there to implement pseudo conversational program: technique 1, technique 2, technique 3. In this particular video, I am going to focus technique 3. So technique 3, what is technique 3? In technique 3, only one program and one transaction will be there. To implement technique 3, there are 3 components are required. One is DFH COM area, another one is EIB Callan, and third one is written with the transaction ID. If these 3 components are there in a single program, we can call as that is a pseudo conversational program. Okay, but it's not always, but most of the cases. If DFH COM area, EIB Callan, and written with the transaction ID. If these 3 things are there, then we can call most of the cases that program is implemented with pseudo conversational technique 3. Let's focus what is DFH COM area. So we have discussed, when already I explained in another video, but I want to reiterate what is what. So DFH COM area is a special memory area which is provided by KICS to every task. What is the use of DFH COM area? It is used to pass data from one program to another program. So the programs can exist in the same transaction or in a different transaction also. It is declared in the linkage section of the program at 0-1 level. So let me explain through Paint. So we have a program 1, or you can call as there is a program A, and we are having something called program B. Program B. So this is the one scenario when you are calling program B from program 1. When you are calling program B from program 1. So we can pass the data from program A to program B. So we are getting the data from program A, hence DFH COM area should be declared in the subprogram, in the linkage section. That's what they are trying to say here. The program can exist in the same transaction or different transaction also. It is declared in the linkage section of the program at 0-1 level. So this is the one case. The another scenario. So the another scenario, there is only one program. There is only one program. The corresponding transaction ID is A001. Now, this particular program itself can pass the data to the same program. Means we can pass the data to the same transaction. From this particular program, we can pass to the same transaction. So that is also possible. That is they are trying to say. The programs can exist in the same transaction. Means you are passing the data and receiving the data. Both are happening in the same program. So passing and receiving, both things are happening. If the same thing are happening in same program, that also possible. That is the one. So how we use, what is the use of it, we will see practically later. EIB Callan. EIB Callan is the KICS reserved word or variable. The purpose is to know if the data is received or not in the submodule. See, if you are exchanging the data, if you are passing the data from program A to program B, so you are passing 10, 20, 4 bytes you are passing. Hence, how much length data is receiving from program A? 4 bytes. Hence, EIB colon is going to become 4. The what value is going to populate in EIB colon variable? 4 bytes. Because how much data you are exchanging to the linkage section, that value is going to store in EIB colon. EIB colon is the KICS reserved word. The purpose is to know if the data received or not in the submodule or same transaction or same program. Submodule wants to know if the data received or not. In this scenario, the submodule will use EIB colon to get the status. If it is a 0, if the EIB colon is 0, we did not get the data. If it is greater than 0, we can say that yes, we received the data. In that way, we have to implement. Next one, written with the transaction ID. If you want to initiate a, if you want to call a subprogram using transaction ID, or if you want to call the same program with the transaction ID, that is possible. So with these three components, we can able to implement pseudo conversion technique 3. So now how the memory, how the particular pseudo conversion technique, how it is we can optimize it by using this technique, how we can optimize that I am going to explain here. So I'm going step by step. So the first command is send command. You are sending some screen, or let's say you are at ATM, you will get by default, once you insert the card, you will get one screen, one page, right? So for that, in KICS terminology, we use send command. So for that, we use send command. After that, once the user sends the command, user will wait for some time to enter the input, either 1 second or 2 seconds or 30 seconds or 1 minute. So maximum system will wait for 1 minute. Hence, user have a chance to wait for 0 seconds to 1 minute, 60 seconds. So in between duration, between 60 seconds duration, at any moment, user can enter the data. Okay, I'll come back to that also. So assume that user is entered. So we need to receive it. So based on the some option, we are sending the result. We are sending the result. Again, user is entered one more option. User is entered one more option. User is entered one more option. Okay, consider like this. Now you take, so assume that end user is present here. Okay, so assume that we are interacting with the system. Okay, we are interacting with the system. Now what happens? First, you will send an empty map. By default, you will, once you type the transaction ID, you will send the empty map. So once you send the empty map, that screen is visible to end user. So now the request goes to here. So this send command start executing when you type the transaction ID. So when you type the transaction ID, so you would have typed some A001 transaction. The task ID is 00101, something random number. So Now what happens? So system will keep on allocating the resources for 101 task ID. Now once send the map, so user will keep on, user is reading the options of the screen. After 20 seconds, assume that user is entered some response. So we will receive. So ideally I'll show everything practically in debugging in further programs. But in this video, just I'll explain how things happens in the Kix region or internally. Now, once the user enters, we will receive. So what happens? We will receive the user input. Based on the user input, we will do all the validations here. All the calculations or reading the data from file, all of them we do. Again, we will send. So once we send the map, user will take some time to respond, right? User might respond immediately or he might respond after few seconds. So what we do, we write a application program such a way, once he send the map, whatever the resources we allocate a day earlier, so after sending till this few resources will be there, that we will erase it. We will release all the resources from here to here before once we send the second command. Okay, so between this, whatever the resources we allocated, we will release it. So after every send command, after every send command, we will try to release the memory or resources whatever we allocated so far. Hence, within few intervals, whatever the resources we allocated, so here resources will be released, here whatever resources allocated so far it will be released, so far whatever the resources allocated it will be released. Okay, so I will show, as I said, I will show practically in debugging mode how the resources will be released, how the task ID is going to reflect. Okay, so every time task ID is going to change. By that, practically you will understand. So you would have read theoretically few articles optimizing. Okay, so deallocating the resources, but I will show you practically that part. Okay, so in this way, we keep on deallocating, releasing the allocate resources for previous steps or previous transactions between user and system. So that is the main advantage of the pseudo conversation and how we can optimize how internally it is going to execute. So I'm going to implement pseudo conversational program with this particular screen. Okay, in this screen I'm going to create a pseudo conversational program. So that's all for this particular video. Thank you and bye. Take care, team.